Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, good show today with Dean Rojas. But first, did you go buy bread and milk?
No.
Do you know why?
Yeah, it's supposed to potentially get a little bit icy over the weekend.
Icy?
Yeah, and snow and cold.
4 to 8 inches of snow. In certain areas, they're calling for over a foot of snow.
I'm from Central Illinois, so...
I didn't ask you where you were from. Did you realize? See, Oklahoma can't handle the snow,
Here's
dude.
what you have
You should know that.
Here's what you have to understand, Mark. I have not had bread, milk, or eggs in my house for 4 months. So why all of a sudden, if it's going to snow, would I rush out and purchase those products? They don't exist in the house. I got chips, I got queso dip, and something that you can microwave.
Dude, I'm just making fun of the news. The local news is having a heyday with this. They sent news crews out to the grocery stores to see and film people rapidly buying milk and bread because of this supposed blizzard that's coming through.
Well, good thing we're talking about Florida all day today.
Yeah. By the way, really, really catchy title on the story over on Bass Zone. I like that.
A healthy dose of vitamin D.
Yes, sir. Well, that's a good one.
Because I was sitting there and I was talking to a couple guys, and then MLF obviously announced that the first tour stop of the year is going to be on Lake Toho. We're going to have Dean Rojas on in the next segment of the show to talk about that, obviously, where he set the record. MLF did a cool little article talking about Luke Clausen won the Classic there. Van Dam has won tournaments there. Rojas set the record there. A number of anglers have won on that fishery, so a lot of favorites heading into that. But then I started thinking, I thought, aren't the Eastern Opens, starting in Florida? Yeah. And then I said, aren't the Southeastern Costas starting in Florida?
Yeah.
And I said, isn't the second FLW Tour stop
yes, sir,
of the season starting in Florida? And isn't the Elite Series going to Florida?
Yes, sir.
And now MLF is going to Florida. So I pulled up all the schedules and I started comparing them, and I was like, holy cow. And what it comes down to at the end, Mark, is there will be 5 major tournaments in Florida between January 24th and February 10th, and all 3 major tours, MLF, BASS, and FLW,
yes,
will take place in a 13-day period.
I know, man.
2 of which are on back-to-back lakes with the FLW Tour Practice, which that schedule has been out for a very long time, starting the final day of the MLF event, which MLF said in a press release then is the reason why their final round of the opening tour event, I'll read it. It says, though the majority of the January 29th through February 3rd action will take place on historic Lake Toho, the championship round will be held on another nearby body of water out of respect for the Fishing League Worldwide tournament that follows. There's 250, 300 pros in the world, and they're having to move fisheries because they got them all in the same spot at the same time.
So why don't they go to Texas? They could go to Texas.
Well, FLW is starting the year on Sam Rayburn in Texas.
No, I'm talking about they could even go to other places in Texas to start out. You only got 80 guys. I'm talking about Major League Fishing.
They want to start with a pop. They want to start with a bang. January,
I understand, but that thing is safe. Going to be...
It's safe. What happens... It's safe. I get it. I like it. What happens whenever they scheduled the Classic in Grand in February? Whenever you go to a sketchy area...
Snowed.
You get on Bass Talk Live and say, why would they schedule it for an area that is known to have snow and cold weather? Well, Texas has a lot more colder weather. I mean, Amistad will freeze.
So why did they not go to Falcon? Could they have not went to Falcon?
No, they could not have.
Why is that?
Because of the cell service technology that would have not allowed them to have live streaming on all of their boats because of the Texas-Mexico border.
Well, I agree with that.
So rules that out.
But maybe you make Mexico off limits. Can't go across the border. Still got a massive body of water. Why couldn't they have went to Amistad or Amistad? However you say.
Texas-Mexico border.
Same thing.
Maybe they don't have the right cell service there.
Okay.
But that's what they said about the border fisheries are going to be challenging as far as what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
Florida's it. Florida's the only place that they could have went.
It's the safest. You got big fish. You got familiarity. You know what's going on there. You're probably going to be able to launch your boat without ice.
How about California? Could they have not started in California?
Well, if you ask any of the major tours, California hasn't existed on a schedule for 4 years.
Was it Chad? Yeah,
2015.
Chad mentioned that. They could have.
They could have, yes.
And just stayed away from there. Got it out of the way. Boom. Let's kick it off in Cali.
I don't know. There's probably some sort of lead in the live streaming cameras that California won't allow them to.
No. I get it. I understand there are a lot of moving parts in making this event, really for all 3 tours now. And the one key to all 3 tours is they have to have cell service. Now, let me ask you this. It was kind of a blip, and I get what you just read on the press release, that they have to move the final day. They have no idea where they're going to. Let me ask you this. Is there anything in the rules for FLW that they cannot watch what's taking place in Major League Fishing?
When I heard the schedule and that it was on the same fishery, that was the very first thing that popped into my head. There was an episode on Kentucky Lake, I believe, a number of years ago. It might have even been the one that Bobby Lane won. It was the one that Bobby Lane won.
Okay.
Where the last day of the Elite Series tournament was the first day of FLW practice. Now, obviously, they're taken out at different ends of the lake. But here you are, FLW tour angler. You're on the water. You see the big galleries all around there. You know where the top 10 guys are fishing. That was before live. That was when Harold Allen was on the water doing the live.
Right.
But I think there might have even been some issues that arose with FLW guys.
Is there anything in the rules right now?
I don't know if there's anything in the rules right now about that, but if I'm an FLW tour guy and it's public information on the Major League Fishing live stream, heck, I'm watching that for 5-6 days before I get there.
Do you think between now and Tuesday you might be able to get with Joe and ask Joe about that at FLW?
Absolutely.
Let's
if
do
there's
that.
I don't understand. What are they going to ban them from going to MajorLeagueFishing.com?
I have no idea.
They won't be able to read any press releases. They won't be able to.
I don't know. Bass did that.
If it is, but for their site, not.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's public information.
Is it going to create a definite advantage by watching that content?
No, because all 170 FLW tour anglers can watch that content.
Maybe some are traveling and can't watch.
Well, maybe they have it pulled up on their cell phone. Maybe they go back and watch the archive footage. But it'll be interesting because supposedly you're going to have these guys. There's going to be live cameras in the boat every day.
Yeah.
There's going to be live cameras with everybody who caught them for the semifinal round. And then there's going to be a 2-hour post-game extravaganza every day that breaks down how they caught them.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. All right, now I'm going to spin it a little bit from the business side, which I always do. How much money do you think that the community of Kissimmee is shelling out for all these events to come to their area?
I don't know. It'd be interesting. How much? You look at Florida, the money that professional bass fishers bring in Florida. You start at Palatka. I'll just start from the top of the state and work down with Palatka. That's the February 7th through 10th for the Elite Series. That's kind of a standard stop there. And then, you've got the Kissimmee chain. You have Lake Toho twice. Then you have the Harris chain. It starts at the top and works all the way down to Okeechobee.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's been that way for years. It's just this year, the Toho area, Kissimmee, that whole area is just getting absolutely pounded.
Now, here's the question. So I'll let you lead into this one because I think you're going. Well, there is a Bassmaster Eastern Open January 24th through 26th, which is conveniently close to the January 29th date, which is the start date of.
Are the MLF guys going to fish the Opens? That's what I ask you
Bass
every
Pro
show,
Tour,
man.
If they get 2 days of practice, correct?
Yeah.
So if that ends the 26th, then that would mean that the practice is the 27th and the 28th for the BPT, which would mean the tournament would start on the 29th, and they're right next to each other pretty much.
Yeah.
That'd be awful convenient.
So let me ask you this. What do you think Bass thinks about that, those guys fishing the Open? You think it's just going to be doors wide open? Come on down, guys. We want your money.
How long has it been since we've noted a trusted unnamed source in the show? It's been a couple weeks. That was the mantra for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wait, before you say that, I don't think something's going to happen because I don't think they're going to let that happen. I don't know what it is.
Not
but
be surprised if something comes down the pipeline. I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll let them fish. They'll let anybody in the BPT fish. I mean, the Opens. It's called the Bassmaster Opens, Mark. It's open. I mean, you can sign up and fish for it. You can open.
Yeah.
It's not the Bassmaster semi-opens. The Bassmaster Opens for most.
The Bassmaster closed is what it is.
I think you might hear something coming out in the next couple weeks that would discourage certain anglers from participating in the Opens this year.
Well, let me think.
We'll leave it at that. Just leave it at that. Because we don't
what would that be?
Rumor and conjecture here.
Yeah.
Well, what's the main reason most guys fish the Opens? Most of the top level tour pros. I mean, it's not to finish 35th and cash a $2,000 check.
Is it even that much?
Losing proposition if you follow.
I don't even think it's that much.
You look at Kevin Short's Instagram. He'll break it down after every tournament.
Oh yeah.
He says, lest you think old K Pink robbed the bank in this Open. Here's my expenses. Here's my entry fee.
Yeah.
Here's my tackle. Here's my check. I only lost $800 this week.
There you have it. No, it's got to be the return of the winning you're in.
Yeah,
so
that's key.
What happens if you win and they shut the door? It becomes the Bassmaster closed rather than the Bassmaster Opens. Who knows? We'll see. But I can't see with all of the friction? Is that a good word for this situation? Friction?
Tension.
Okay, either one.
Tension, friction.
Yeah. Between the organizations that might be a scenario that takes place. I just cannot see them. The Classic in 2019 is going to be weird enough. Now all of a sudden you got these guys fishing the Opens and then they qualify for the Classic again. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see on that. All right, what else is going on?
I got one more point on Florida though.
Okay.
It is the one thing I do like. That you've got the new Bass Pro Tour. You know, everyone's going to be comparing. How's the Bass Pro Tour compared to this? You got the 5 fish, call your best 5, weigh them in, and then you've got the catch, weight, release with everything. There is not going to be a better comparison unless MLF decides to just piggyback off of the other tours. But you're going to see side by side early in the year, 2 months away, exactly the differences on the same fishery, unless a massive cold front comes through under pretty much the same conditions.
Right.
What it's like to watch the BPT, what it's like to watch the FLW Tour, and you're going to be able to sit there and see which one plays out better.
Let me ask you this. The perception of our guest that we're going to have on, Dean Rojas, big fish guy.
Big fish guy.
All right. He goes to fish 5. Now, he has not had a whole lot of success in Major League Fishing. The decisions that are going to have to be made during this Toho event, do I stay on an 8, a 9, a 10-pounder for all that time, or do I get on a pattern where I catch 2-pounders?
Well, here's the thing that I think will be interesting is you remember how these Florida fish go. The guys come off stage and they say, I could catch $100 a day, but I just pass those up. Well, now every bed becomes valuable, Mark.
Yeah.
Because every bed has 3 pounds on it, a 1.5 buck or a 2-pound female or a couple small 1.5-pounders or 2-pounders that before you would not even think about stopping off.
Are the bucks more valuable than the females now?
Well, that's what I'm interested in seeing. Can you catch $50 or let's say $20 that'll go 25 pounds versus 3 7-pounders? What's easier?
That's part of the reason why I wanted to get him on, to see what his thoughts are on that.
And we'll talk to him about it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, man?
No, you guys can talk about Mustangs too, though. I thought that would be convenient since you now are.
I think he still has his.
Well, you guys can talk.
He's like
the
big
ins
time
and
now.
odds of that.
No, big time. He's got a Carroll Shelby version, so I think he still has it. Anyway, do want to mention on Tuesday we received a very interesting email from a fan on a topic that he has a pretty valid point in some of the comments that were made in a recent story, and we'll get into that on Tuesday, Matthew.
Yeah, we'll save that to Tuesday. That could be a whole segment that we can do that on.
Yeah. Is he right?
I don't know. We could probably even try to get the subject who he was talking about, not in a negative way, but.
Well, the reason I mention this is we're continuing to get feedback, obviously on the instant feedback, and then people are sending us emails, and we really appreciate that. But in 2019, my friend, we are going to open up something brand new, right? We kind of had it when we did right after we did the XM show when we were at a different location. We are going to open up the Sunline hotline where people can actually call in during the show, and if there is a subject or topic that they would like to voice their opinion on, they're going to be able to do it one day a week live on the show and voice their opinion.
We'll bring that back. We used to do call-ins all the time.
Yeah, but we're going to bring that back.
Okay.
In 2019, along with a lot of other things. And then we've mentioned before, in 2019, we will kick things off the second week of January, doing 3 shows a week now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Very excited about that. And looking to get a little more obvious viewer interaction on this with the development of that Sunline hotline, and we'll go from there. All right, man. So what are your plans this weekend during the snowstorm?
I don't know. I got a lot of stuff to get ready. Everything's kind of creeping up, so. Creeping up. I'm getting the boat detailed, actually.
Oh, that'll be nice to haul it home. Because the snow just doesn't go away.
I'm not picking it
man.
up till Tuesday. I was going to do it
Snow's still going to be around. If we get the snow that they say we're going to get, that stuff's going to hang around for a week.
You're a pessimist in outcomes of everything. You're a pessimist with the weather.
I'm a realist.
Pessimist in athletics.
I trust the weather people here in Oklahoma.
Dean's always positive. Let's get him on the line.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Dean Rojas.
Sleek new design with easy control file. The clearest images underwater with uncompromising range. Live mapping from the touchscreen. View notifications, video, even Google Maps on screen. And for the first time ever, real-time view of fish movements with live sight sonar. HDS Live. New from Lowrance.
Jacob Wheeler and Tommy Biffle have a lot in common.
Flat bill.
The perfect shape.
You gotta love some white tackle.
I know I have a spinning rod.
I love my hammer crawl.
Biffle bug.
Rigged
on a hardhead.
Well, they could be twins. Bifflebug, Hammer Crawl, Hardhead, from Gene LaRue.
Let me help you, man.
Let me help that hat.
Whoa.
There you go. I already look better.
Pros depend on hydraulic jack plates to get the best out of their boats. Do what they do. Demand Atlas performance. Atlas gets you from the bottom to the top in less than 8 seconds, even with the big 4 strokes. And when you gotta turn right around and get that heavy load back up in rough water, Atlas's innovative design and American-made components will get you there with confidence.
I'm at Depot. Just look for yourself. There's an Atlas jack plate on just about every professional's boat.
The Atlas hydraulic jack plate. You can depend on it.
My rods look different because they are different. Every rod is built by the pros and for the pros. When you pick up a white Duckett fishing rod, you're getting a cutting-edge rod, one that's truly pro-driven with the actions you need for every bait category you fish. I put my name on it. It's my promise to build you a great rod you can count on.
Duckett Fishing, Micro Magic, Macro Magic, or White Ice.
Try them. They work.
Man, I am so excited to be joining the AFCO Pro staff. They got some really cool, innovative products to help you have a more enjoyable, comfortable day while you're out there on the water. Really stylish, great functional clothing. You're gonna love it. The thing I'm most excited about though is AFCO has pledged to donate 10% of their total profits back to supporting the conservation of our fisheries. And I am all about supporting a company that's about supporting conservation so that we can enjoy our bass fishing for a long time. Check us out, AFCO.
When I talk about Sunline, I think of one word: confidence.
Sunline FX2 is what I use for all of my frogging and flipping.
S61 braid, which braid plays a big part in fishing line.
Shooter, I'm going to use in those close quarter deals like flipping and pitching.
One of my favorite techniques in fishing the tournament trail is to fish offshore ledges.
We have taken the questions out of the equation.
Take my word for it. It works. It works, dude.
All right, we are back here in studio, Mark and Matthew, on a Thursday, getting ready for the big blizzard.
It's probably not going to be that big a deal, Mark.
You know, I'm actually making fun of all the weather guys. They make a big deal about it, dude. We've told people on this show millions of times the weather people in Oklahoma are the highest paid weather people in the nation. Most of them make more than the news anchors. Mm-hmm. All right, because the weather's such a big deal here in Oklahoma. All right, I'm sure the weather's pretty nice at Lake Havasu. What do you think, Matthew?
I think it gets cold there.
Doesn't snow, does it?
I don't know, but I know it gets cold.
Let's see. Let's bring Dino in. Dean, you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning to both of you guys.
Hey, man, good to talk to you. Haven't talked to you for a while. Does it ever snow at Havasu?
It snowed, I think it was two years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We got real excited. It snowed like 3 inches. And out of the 20 years I've lived here, that's the most snow I've ever seen here. We get a light dusting every now and again, but nothing like we had on New Year's Day. And it was the weirdest thing, seeing the whole town in the desert that gets 125 degrees covered in snow. So it was a wild scene for a while, but it was cool.
Wow. All right, Dean. Obviously, you've been very, very busy, and being one of the tour veterans, one of the individuals that have done this game for so long, is this the craziest time in professional bass fishing you've ever seen?
Yeah. Well, first I want to publicly congratulate Matt Pangrack. I know it's been a couple months, but on his U.S. Open amateur title there on Lake Mead.
AAA.
I never got to congratulate him publicly, but I wanted to say that's a good job coming out here on the West Coast and doing that. Leading up to that, yes, this is a crazy and hectic time right now in the bass fishing world. With obviously the Major League Fishing format, the BBT coming out, a lot of excitement, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of anxiety, I think, from a lot of people. But it's all positive. It's all good.
Dean, we talked prior to you coming on the show about you being a big fish guy. And from a success standpoint, I mean, let's face it, you have not had an enormous amount of success in this format. What are you doing to your game, and do you think that catching a lot of fish is going to be a huge factor for you kicking things off at Toho when that is a big fish factory? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when I first heard about the announcement being, at Toho, it brought back a lot of, about the record and everything that happened the second and third week of January there. So I was excited, but a lot of it has to do, with timing, and you never know in Florida, especially in January, what's going to happen down there. A cold front can come in very, very quickly and shut everything down. So we were just on the lucky side when we were down there and we broke the record that we were on a warming trend. And for that, I mean, you could have caught, each one of my fish that I caught that day, the longest I think I spent on one was the last one, and I spent like 20 minutes on him, and that was a 7-8. A couple of the 10-pounders came within 10 minutes, 5 minutes. When they're ready up there, they're going to bite. So I think that with the format of the BPT, trying to catch as many as you can, I think that is going to translate into that. But if you can find a big one, obviously you can run up the scoreboard pretty quickly. Going into that, me fishing for a lot of big fish and numbers and stuff, I passed up a lot of small fish. And Matt, mentioned that in the show about, catching 2-pounders, 2-pounder. And it's just going to be a matter of how quickly you can recognize whether that fish is going to bite or not. Is it worth the 10 or 15-minute investment to try and catch that fish? So you got to keep moving all the while the score tracker is lighting up. So I think it's going to be challenging for a lot of guys who are not used to that format, but I'm excited about it. I feel like it's really going to open up a lot of things because these are fisheries that we've been to before, and we kind of know what to expect. Whereas in the Major League Fishing format that we have now, we have no idea where we're going. You're just thrown to the wolves and say, "Hey, man, you're on your own." So, for me, I'm excited for the new venture. It's going to be great.
I want to, obviously as this thing gets closer and closer, everyone talks about how the format is going to change the fishing. But one of the things that I think has not been talked about a lot, Dean, that I think it might affect, especially in a place like Florida, is you're going to have guys who employ different strategies. Whereas there's Jeffries is going to hate this analogy because he's a cat guy, but there's more than one way to skin a cat now to catch the most weight. I'm thinking of a place like the St. Johns River. Everybody runs to Lake George. You're in those eelgrass beds down there, and it's 75% of the field because they know that's where the biggest fish are going to be bedding and everyone's milling around with each other. With this format, do you think it's going to spread a lot more guys out because you're going to have a guy who goes, I can have this area while there's not any 7-pounders in it. There's a ton of 1.5 to 3-pounders in it. And then other guys who say, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to mess with the 7. So it actually creates more productive fishable water with the every fish counts.
Matt, those are both great points on all that, but you're leaving out one thing. You're basing everything off a full field, okay? There's only 40 guys per day. So when you look at that and you think about, is it worth running Lake George? Heck yeah, if there's only be 40 boats there. Now instead of dealing with 20 guys or 30 guys in one area, you've got like 5 or 10. So what's going to happen is it's going to spread everybody out, and it's going to open up a bigger playing field. And at that point, I think that's where you're going to see more fish being caught, and you're going to see things that you normally wouldn't see because of the overall fishing pressure during that time. When I broke the record in Florida, it was 150 competitors. It wasn't a 100 like on the Bass Tour, and it certainly is not 80 or 40 now on the BPT. So there was a lot of pressure on the lake back then. So this is going to open up a lot of things that people haven't seen in a while. And it'll be almost a reminiscent of the Elite 50s when we had that, when we could run the whole lake and you can run a pattern, you can do your deal. And with only 50 competitors out there, with 40, you look at Toho and put 40 guys on it for one day, they're going to get lost. You won't even see them, So I'm serious. That's, you got 40 miles of river, and lakes and backwaters and dualies and whatever you want to fish. So I think that's going to change the whole dynamic of the analogy that you just brought up, Matt. And I think that is something that is new that the people aren't thinking about or talking about.
That being said, I still think 3 guys will try to start on one fish the first morning. I've been around it too long. I know that's how it works, Dean.
I agree with him, too. Hey, Dino, I'm curious. This format, the 40-40 format, I think is really cool. I like that a lot. But I have a question. If you're not one of the 40 guys that are out there, are you guys going to be able to actually listen to and see what the other 40 guys are doing, being on location wherever the press conferences are taking place? Are you going to be allowed to look at the stuff that's taking place live on the water if you're not fishing? What's the status on that?
Well, we're expecting our rules to come out here in the next day or two. So I can't comment on that because I don't know 100% on that. It could go either way to where we're able to watch that stuff. But from what I've been told and having been with MLF since the very beginning, the guys aren't going to have a whole lot of time to be sitting there watching that, the live feed on the MLF side, because we're going to be doing a lot of photographs and a lot of video and a lot of stuff that is outside of just regular just fishing. So I know what's going to be demanded of us, of our time during our days off, and tackle prep. I mean, there'll be a lot of that stuff. So I don't have the answer to that question, but I think that a lot of the guys are going to be busy enough to where it's just going to be, it's just going to be talk. And if they outlaw it to where you can't watch, then that'll be in the rules. So
okay.
I can't answer it completely.
Okay, Brian in California, he's got a great point. He wants to know, has there been discussion, or what has the conversation been about the first 40 guys going out and now the second 40 guys? The conditions have totally changed. And the first 40 guys got the prime conditions based upon the weather, and then the second 40 guys got screwed because the cold front comes through and fishing gets a lot tougher. What has been the discussion between the anglers about this situation that could occur, and has there been any discussion?
Well, there's always discussion. We're always dealing with variables out there, but it really doesn't matter because the same 40 guys are faced with the same conditions. It's not an overall weight. Again, it's all about qualifying to get to the next round. So basically you are going to fish the day, what the day presents you. So if it's warm and nice out and the fish are everywhere on the beds, you may catch 100 pounds, and then all of a sudden the front comes in and the next group comes in and, they're only catching 30 pounds or whatever it might be. But it doesn't matter because the weights don't matter. They do matter to move to the next round in your group. Okay. So the same 40 guys are going to be grouped together all the way through the qualifying rounds, and they take the top 20 out of out of B group, mm-hmm. and then the top 20 out of the A group move on to the semifinal round. So with that being said, that group of guys is always fishing against the same group under the same conditions,
okay,
as they are all the way through the qualifying rounds.
All right, I think there was a little bit of confusion there because
you're
some
always
people
fishing against your guy.
Yeah, some people were thinking, okay, it's all 80 guys competing. One's got a flight on Tuesday, and the second one's got a flight on Wednesday.
It's not like a guy plays a golf course on Monday and his score counts against the guy who plays it on Tuesday.
Right.
Correct.
My question, I've seen a couple of this brought up online, and you're a sight fishing guy, and you know this, and you know how many times you can catch sight fish sometimes. What the heck's the deal with the catching the dumb one 3 times in the same day?
You can't do that.
How do you know it's the same one?
That won't be allowed.
How do you know it's the same one? What if
when you're on a flat and there's one bed out there and it's the same darn bed that you've seen, in practice, and you caught the one, he's still sitting up there. You can't go up there and catch him again.
So this is a serious question. I was curious about this. So let's say you catch one early in the morning, you're combing that flat looking for new betters, the conditions get right. Your referee, your marshal, no, referee, your official. That's what I was thinking. Your boat official, you're going to look at that hole in the grass and he's going to go, already caught that one.
It's a good question.
Well, Matt, the first time when you went there, did you actually visually see the bass?
Well, you caught it.
It doesn't matter. Did you visually see it? That's part of
Heck yeah,
the rule.
You flipped in there, you saw him, you watched him eat it.
No. Early in the morning, right?
Right.
Is that what? Okay.
Right. Well. But then you come back in the afternoon, you can't catch him again. You can say you don't know. I could come out in the rules too. I don't know. Yeah, you're visually looking at it. I'm talking about a sight fish. You got a bed there. There's a male on it. The male's got half of his tail missing. It's obviously the same fish. You can't catch that fish twice.
Yeah, that'll be under the discrepancy of the boat official at that time.
Okay,
make that call.
All right.
Wow. I never thought about that until now that you mentioned that.
I mean, some of them are dumb, and you're dealing with Rojas. I've watched the guy sight fish. He can catch one 6 times in a row just to prove a point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sit there and just ring up a dumb 3-pounder and have 18 pounds while everyone else is going to their spots still. The thing looks like Jason Quinn in 2005 by the time you're done with it. And then the next group gets there and he's belly up.
Yeah. He's got a good point, Dino.
You know what, Mark? You should know that Matt always has a good point.
Yeah.
He has a lot of bad points too, but really a lot of good ones. He comes out with some dandies at times.
I know. Have you been able to fish at all during this time, Dino? Have you went out? Have you tuned up your game at all? What's going on with that?
I've been fishing quite a bit. I haven't fished this week, but we went over Thanksgiving. I fished about 4 days there and fished a couple days on Havasu. And Little Machine's got a tournament this weekend here in Havasu, so he's itching to go on out. But right now, it's just kind of getting everything busy. I'm trying to get everything locked up right now with my jerseys and boat wrap and truck wrap before the holidays, because it's just, I mean, dude, I'm going to be leaving here in just over a month, you know, and the boat's finishing up, and my Blazer Bass boat and Suzuki, all that stuff's getting put together right now, and I'm just excited. I'm just I know what's coming, and I'm excited. I'm excited to launch the brand new tour, and all the great things are going to come with that. Speaking with Boyd all the time, and just hearing the stuff that we're doing and what's going to happen in the future. It's so exciting to see all the great ideas that we've all wanted that are all going to come to fruition here in the next year or two, and the people that are behind us, the Kroenke Group, and the vision is just is what everybody out wanted, and I think you saw that when you saw the guys come on over to the Major League Fishing format and the BPT, and just a lot of great things, a lot of excitement, but it's a whole new venture, man. It's brand new, so it's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
All right, what can you tell the viewers and the listeners about your sponsor lineup for 2019? Your title, I mean, what's your wrap going to look like? What's the scoop on that?
Well, the wrap will pretty much be the same. It'll be a red Blazer 625. It'll be a Suzuki wrap, and basically the sponsor portfolio has the same, stayed the same. A lot of the companies have wanted bigger exposure, which is good because they know about what's coming because of the amount of video that's going to be available to the public. So logos will be bigger. I already have a full fleet of sponsors that have been for me a long time, and it's just great to see the excitement in their eyes and wanting them to do more, for sponsor wise and for logo signage and everything. So pretty much red all the way through the truck, the boat, and jersey. We may mix up a jersey. I'm in contact with them right now. We're going to mix some colors up, maybe make a summer jersey. I don't know. We're just kind of doing some things, changing things up, but I'm excited about it. It's going to be great.
Just a nice pastel edition.
Plaid.
Hey, I have a question logistically. Obviously, they announced the first stop of the tour, and the dates, so you know how close they are together. Is MLF making room reservations for you guys, or if you don't know where you're going next, or do you guys know where you're going next, or how does that work? Because I know through scheduling sometimes it's hard to get a room 2-3 months out. Now if you're not sure where the next one is, how are you doing all that logistically, having had for the last 5 or 6 years you pretty much know exactly where you're staying, the house you're renting, everything for the entire season before it starts?
Yeah, all that's kind of started. We have our dates, for the schedule itself, and I would guess that the schedule will be out here shortly as they announce them one at a time. But with ample time, to make the reservations and so forth. Again, Matt, we're only dealing with 80 guys. So, and half of them are campers. So, by that time, it's really not a whole lot of, it's not hard to get a hotel anymore or a house like it used to be. And so with a reduced field and just with the housing things kind of changing and evolving, it's not a big issue like it was before.
That's cool. I know you don't stay at the Motel 6s. If it's not a corner suite, you're going to the next town over.
Hey, Brian from Lake Norman wants to know, can you give us any insight what it was like running a Blazer during the 2018 season, and are you coming out with your own line for that company?
Yes, when I made the switch last year to go to Blazer, the boat itself has very good lines. You know, it looks good, looks fast, and it is fast. And it was a joy to drive that boat all last year. But coming out of the boat I was in before, and then for so long, and then driving a Blazer, two different boats in the sense of the previous boat that I had when I first was running them runs a lot like my Blazer does now. So for me, that was what I fell in love with the boat that I previously had. Now I have that back again. The boat right now, the Blazer, it's a fun boat to drive. And when you're with a particular boat for so long, it just becomes numb. It's just like driving a big 20-foot Cadillac. It's just you don't feel anything. It's just numb, and it's just this boat. You feel everything. You feel the excitement, the exhilaration, the boat, the way it handles, the way it turns. You really feel like you're driving a rocket. It's awesome. And so for me, it was really exciting to drive the boat next year. I'm excited to get my next one. The fishing platform sits up a lot higher in the bow, which I like. I can see that what I'm pitching at and what I'm throwing at a lot easier. And then, I never had any problems with it all year. It just ran, and my Suzuki ran beautiful all year, had no problems at all. And I'm just, it's just a great experience. I'm looking forward to running it again next year. And so, I have no complaints at all. I'm ready to go.
Dean Rojas model, maybe?
Yes, we are working on that right now, and it's going to have all the nice features on it. Not that the 625 doesn't. We are just adding to and taking some of the great ideas that come from that, and we're creating a new one. We are working on that right now. So I have to go down there a little bit earlier this year, down to Florida, down there in Pensacola, where we build them, and we got to go over a couple other things down there. But all great things that are happening. So it's exciting times. Exciting times right now.
Hey, you still got a Mustang?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes, I have two of them.
Hey, Jeffries has one. He doesn't like talking about it. He traded in his tow vehicle for a Mustang.
I have a tow vehicle.
It's a Tahoe on rims that you paid $5,000 for. Let's not get carried away here. And that's the truth.
No, don't you have a Shelby, Dino?
You know what? I'm surprised that you actually splurged, Mark, and bought a Mustang.
I'm pretty tight, but I took care of this one the right way, Dino.
That explains next year's contract. It's all making sense now. That's why we're going to 3 days a week. He's got to afford the insurance on the Mustang.
That's not true. No, I've always been. Dean, you and I have talked about this. I've always been a Mustang guy. I've had numerous Mustangs through my lifetime, and it's just one of those cars. And the new body style, the new engine, the new chip. The chip is unbelievable. The horsepower, the additional horsepower that you can get out of the chip is incredible.
All right, here it is. I'm laying it down. You're always, let's put boat owners against each other at a tournament. Let's do one-on-ones. Can we not find a drag strip and have Jeffries and Rojas head-to-head 8 seconds for all the glory in their Mustangs?
No.
Who would win that?
Dean would, because Dean's got the Shelby.
All right, Mark. With your little chip in your Mustang, how many horsepower you have?
400.
Okay, my Shelby has 680.
See,
so what about driving skills?
Yes, that's it's nice and it's great, but if you want to go a drag strip, we can go.
No, I said no. That is no contest. I know what vehicle he has and what he's talking about. No contest.
Do you let Austin drive that thing?
Austin?
Yeah.
No. I let my older one, Cameron, drive it. Well, the cool thing is it's a 5-speed. It's a manual, obviously.
Yeah.
So my kids, both my boys, they have to learn how to drive a stick before they can get their driver's license. So both my boys know how to drive a stick. So my oldest, Cameron, he got to drive it. And the car almost scared him. And then my little one, Austin, Little Machine, he's ready. He's about ready to drive it. So, but I don't mind. Heck, if they want to go to their prom in it or do something special with it, it's fine.
They're rocking it.
Both my kids are really good, so I don't have a problem with it. It's just a car, and we got insurance, so it's all good.
Jeffries won't let me touch it. I tried to sit down on it, and he goes, "No, that's camel leather.
No, that's
I just conditioned it."
I did not. Jeez, I did not. Good grief. Hey, unbelievable. I do want to mention, is the Little Machine fishing in the Arizona Open on Lake Havasu?
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
If he needs any tips, I know that AAA side pretty well there, Dean. I'm just saying.
No, is he fishing as a pro or a AAA?
Well, I tell you, he wants to fish it because, Dad, I want to miss like 3 days of school, 4 days of school. I go, heck with the school, man. This is the Havasu Open.
Yeah.
But he cares about his grades. He's a straight A student, and I just I was never a straight A student, so for me, C's and B's were good. You get a couple D's that I was just kind of a get by so I can go to the lake and go fishing. Well, he's the other way around. So he's a little bit, he cares about his grades and so forth. So he's a little worried about that. And I said, man, just fish the event and so forth. So he's going to go ahead and do that and take him out of school. But it'll be fun. I don't know if Matt, the defending amateur division champion, AAA division, will show up. But either way, Little Machine will be out there casting away.
He was registered, Austin, for the U.S. Open, but then once I registered as the co-angler, something just mysteriously came up, and he just couldn't take the heat. He had to get out of the kitchen.
Hey, Dino, jeez. Don in Illinois, his comment on the instant feedback, it's pretty interesting here. Have you ever seen or ever thought about having a extra deck that would raise up somehow, some way to utilize during sight fishing? Think of it as kind of like
isn't it a Roland Martin rule?
Well, no, if it was actually part of the boat, I think
like a hydraulic deck.
Yeah, where a portion of the deck actually raises up like a foot. Yeah.
Now you're
like. I mean, does that even matter? Honestly, to be higher up, it's just a better viewing level, isn't it? When it comes to sight fishing.
Well. See, Mark, you're like 8 feet tall, so for you a deck isn't that big of a deal. But for guys who are a lot shorter than you are, I mean, the height is good if you can get it. But, you start thinking about the logistics of putting a hydraulic lift in the front of your boat and what it's going to do to it. All the weights and I just think that would be a little bit overboard for the tour anyways, but you could do it on your personal boat if you wanted to, but there are rules in place for all that extension, and I don't foresee that coming forth on the Bass Pro Tour at all.
All right.
But it would be cool, though.
It would be cool.
MLF is going to have all these rules, too, because it's completely new. So all the, you can't stand on the back of your motor. You can't strap a step stool into the boat. There's going to be all sorts of these rules that are going to come up, I would imagine.
I saw a revision of it last week, and actually it's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry on a lot of things. Granted, we are going to make some mistakes, coming out of the gate. There'll be some situations that will arise that we won't have a rule for or understand what's going on with that, and we'll deal with that at that time. But it's basically it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, on the stuff, and the way that we're going to get penalized for rule infractions would be a lot like what you see now on the MLF stuff. So, I think that most of the guys are going to be open to that. It's just change. It's different. I think it's going to be a little more freer in a way. You don't feel like you can't move, like you're suffocated in the rules at times with the other organizations. So it's just a different era and a different set of rules that are going to be. It's gonna be fun, dude. It's just a lot of good stuff. Everywhere you look, it's all positive.
All I could say is every other place that has officials, they have symbols for every time there's a penalty: tripping, slashing, hooking, offsides. I really hope that MLF officials have hand gestures.
Hand signals?
Yeah, I really hope that it's like that, where they have to turn to the camera, face to the right, make a symbol, and call a penalty. Just some simple hand gestures, juggling the fish when it touches your
body. That's a great thought.
That's pretty cool.
Matt, that's a great thought. But what about if the camera guy isn't in the boat? Does he still do the whole gesture deal?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna have a GoPro in there, I'm sure. You're gonna have there's gonna be some sort of camera on you at all times, Dean.
All right, so do me a favor then. Next time Boyd Duckett's on there, the Duckett Exchange, ask him about that.
Yeah, because also if you're fishing next to someone, and they have to sit down, I would want to know why that guy had to sit down. If I can look over and see the referee doing the juggling the fish symbol, then I know I trapped a fish against his body. You got the line break symbol. There's all sorts of good stuff there.
Interesting. All right, Dino.
See what I mean, Mark? I mean, Matt comes out with some dandies.
That's a horrible idea, but it's still fun.
He does. All right, man. Big plans for the holidays?
No, basically staying home. Just, we got some other projects going on around here at the house, and I'm just, I need to be home right now. And so enjoying my time, because once January rolls around, we have 8 events in 7 months. So it's going to be very, very busy on top of, fishing the Bassmasters Classic for me. And then just all the other stuff that I have to do during that time. So, these MLF events are longer, so you're going to the final round. It's almost 8 days. So that's a big deal. And then a travel day on each side, that's 10 days. So,
yeah.
It's going to be a little more demanding, but, at the end of the day, the paybacks are going to be really big. No entry fee. I mean, all that great stuff. I mean, it's just littered with just positive, game-changing, things for the whole bass fishing community. It's just and the excitement and the hype. Everybody's talking about it. That's all they want to talk about. I think Matt mentioned before about the Costas and the Opens and stuff. I mean, those are just. It's just so far off the table right now, but it's a great qualifying, for the guys who are trying to make it to the top tier level. So.
All right, cool. We are excited about kicking things off in Florida too. Dave's going to be there for the first one. So, I mean, it's unknown, uncharted territories for us too, because we don't know how to cover it. How do we cover it? We don't know. There's never been one before.
Well, Mark, you're as creative guy as I know, and Matt's kind of out there in left field somewhere. But I think between the two of you guys and Dave, you guys could put something that's going to be really groundbreaking. Being there at the first event, seeing how it all works out, you're going to get a firsthand look on how to navigate it and how the whole system is, and how to make it fit your style.
Yeah.
And you guys got a great style. You guys do a great job on everything you guys do with the webpage and then BTL, all that stuff. And so you'll find a way, Mark. I don't doubt you for a moment.
Right.
And so you guys will navigate and find your niche, and you'll just be rocking, man, because you'll be right there at the very beginning of the Bass Pro Tour.
All right, man. Cool stuff, Dino. Can't thank you enough for the friendship and taking time out to come on the show. You're welcome anytime. And happy holidays to you and your family. Enjoy the holidays, and we will see you in January, man.
All right. Merry Christmas to all you guys, and thanks for having me on the show. Always a pleasure, and look forward to talking to you guys here shortly. So see ya.
All right. Take care, Dino.
Bye-bye.
All right. There you have it. Dean Rojas. Good stuff right now. Somebody on the instant feedback, Matt.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult.
They made the point of, instead of having power poles, you have the power deck.
No, I hear you.
To where the deck is actually part of the deck, then you hit the button and the deck rises. Or it kind of, Z's up there. Just kind of zzz.
I hear you. I still say just bring a step ladder.
Guys do that.
I mean, then you have to deal with what do you do with the foot pedal for the trolling motor, and
you make it part, and you have, I don't know,
how do you do
man.
the
We're
storage
out there.
underneath the deck, and that's a very niche deal where guys
It
are
only
that
lasts
serious
for-
about bed fishing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But power poles, power deck.
I'll tell you what, I think I got him thinking on the multiple fish catch it. The cat is going nuts
I know.
today, Mark. What is
I
up
don't
with
know.
her?
I don't know.
We need to muzzle her.
That's not going to happen. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, I think we kind of got him thinking on the multiple fish, same fish, multiple
How are you going to
times.
prove that? Oh,
That's
wait a minute.
what I'm saying.
Are they going to tag those fish? If you catch a fish
How
off
do
a
you
bed,
know?
do you put a tag
I mean,
in it?
how many times have you caught a fish and you come back later and there's a different fish on the same bed? They're opportunistic. It's a known fact.
I agree.
You'll catch a fish off of it. That buck will say, "Peace out, I'm gone."
Yeah.
Female will be up there and another buck will come in. What are you supposed to go to your marshal? No, that one's a 1/4 inch longer and doesn't have a black speck on its dorsal fin like the one I caught earlier today. How are you going to tell that?
I don't know.
What, once you catch one in a general area when you're sight fishing, you can no longer fish that general area?
I don't know. And the fact that he said
I'm not saying
that
it's bad. I'm just curious. I'm very curious.
The fact that he said that the rule book was pretty simple. Dude, when you really get down to it, I mean, I'm not saying the rule book needs to be as thick as the rules of golf, but there are a lot of things that
what
you can break
forget
down.
is a lot of the rules that are there in bass are because someone went through the rule book in the past 50 years and said, this is not in the rule book. Let's dig out this stretch of bank so we can run our boats in here. Let's strap a ladder to the front deck of the boat. Let's stand here. Let's do this.
I'm with you.
And every single one of those was an instance where there was no camera, where it was all dealt with afterwards. Now you're going to be able to see rules being made live where someone's going to do something and everybody's going to go, oh, we really didn't think of that one.
Hey, what about the situation now where you're going to have so many people watching, they're going to call the MLF headquarters and go, hey, is he allowed to do this? Can he do this?
You get that way on FLW too, with everybody running a camera. That'll be very interesting to see all that footage. I mean, now you're going to have like NFL Films Presents.
Yeah.
You're going to have all this archived footage of... There's so many cool things you can do with all of it. Now, instead of just having 1 or 2 key lost fish, here's an hour of people totally losing their tournament on lost fish. Here's an hour of people catching fish in the last minute.
I'm with you.
Here's the best snags. Here's the best meltdowns. Here's the best fish catches.
I'm with you, man.
All across all of the platforms.
Hey, you want to catch the same fish 10 times? Have at it. Do whatever.
That's what I say. I say each time you catch it, it's harder the next time.
Yeah. All right. We'll see,
I mean,
man.
if the same play works in football, don't you keep running it?
Keep running it, man. Keep ramming it down their throat. All right. Back on Tuesday, a big thank you to Dean Rojas for being on the show today. Here in Oklahoma, everybody brace for the blizzard. It's coming. I have faith in the weather people here in Oklahoma. Matthew, you better get some milk and bread for the first time in 6 years, okay?
It's 4 months.
All right, man. Be safe. Everybody be safe. Enjoy the holiday shopping. Back on Tuesday. Everybody stay tuned.